Hey there, it is now June. We survived May or Maycember, if you have heard it called that, a crazy month. But we went way over budget. Our family did this month for May. So I'm going to share our budget report with you today, our actual numbers, how much we went over in categories, and I will show you how we deal with it. For those of you that are new, I'm Brittany Flammer. I'm a financial coach. I film videos all about budgeting and money saving tips for you and your family. I'm going to go ahead and open up my spreadsheet right now. And I hope you can see that. I'm technologically challenged. So 1 second. Okay, here is our spreadsheet. My husband is a teacher, so he makes salary same every single month, gets paid once a month. So we set his budget at just under $5,000. That is our take-home pay. So we've already had money taken out for taxes, for health insurance, and for some retirement, a little bit of retirement. But he got paid a lot more, $1,400 more than normal. So he does like personal development throughout the school year, and he gets paid for some of that, but he just submitted it all for the last month of the school year. So he got paid $1,400 more than we were planning on. I knew he did that, but I had kind of forgotten about it. So I didn't budget it. So we have fun plans for that money, but then we went over budget. So we'll see how it works out. My business made $559. I make a little bit every month, but we just budget based off of my husband's income. So everything I make, we put towards our mortgage. So I will show you that a little bit further down in the spreadsheet. And interest. We have a lot of money in online savings accounts. I love online savings accounts. We have our emergency fund is in its own online savings account. We keep it separate from everything else. So it earns interest every month, and we just let that interest accrue in our emergency fund so it gets a little bit bigger each month. We have a lot of money for some house projects that we're doing this year, and that is also earning interest. All of our sinking funds are in online savings, and they earn interest. We just put all the interest into like vacation or a fun fund. So I don't really budget for it, but we got 162. So our total income was $2,000 more than we were expecting, which is awesome. Always a good problem to have, but we still went over budget. So our tithing, we were over 160. We pay on our gross income. And since I made quite a bit more money than I had expected, our tithing was higher than expected, but also our church did a fundraiser for the youth. They did like a service auction, and we donated some money there. So we paid 160 more, but I'm okay with that because we donated and we made more money. Our mortgage is fixed, so that's exactly what we thought it would be. Our electricity, we have solar panels, and we finally have sun again. So we only paid $20 for our electricity. Our natural gas was exactly what we thought it would be. We have lived a lot of different places. Some places they'll do like a rolling average where it will change a little by a few dollars every month. But where we live now, they do an average for 12 months, and then they'll reevaluate how much you used, and then they'll give you a new average for the next 12 months. So we currently pay $86 every month. Our city bill, which includes our water and sewer, has been the same for like the last 6 or 7 months. It was wintertime. They didn't read meters for a long time. Now they are reading meters, but now we live in a desert, and so we pay quite a bit for sprinklers. So our water bill will be quite a bit higher. But right now it's $102.24. Life insurance is fixed. Our car insurance went up. So every year or two, it's really good to evaluate your insurance, shop around. Ours just went up. The coverage has not changed, but our monthly premiums have gone up. So I logged in and I didn't make any adjustments. I didn't shop around because we're adding a garage this summer. We will increase our housing insurance. We also looked into getting an umbrella policy. So we'll do all of that at the same time. So I'm just leaving it the way it is. And I know for future months to budget, I need to budget it at 108 instead of 96. 7. Phone bill fixed, $30. Internet fixed at $62. Our gas, we were actually under on gas, which is awesome, because the price of gas has gone up quite a bit. Piano is fixed at $100 for the month. Preschool is fixed at $100 for the month. So overall, we went over by $87 on our fixed expenses, which I feel okay about. It's our variable expenses that are going to hurt us. So moving on to the variable expenses, I like to keep them completely separate, because fixed expenses we are going to pay every month, no matter what. And I only have a little bit of control. Like, I can use less electricity, but I'm going to have to pay for electricity no matter what. The variable expenses are the ones that I have a lot more control over. I control what groceries I buy. Yes, prices of everything have gone up, inflation's high, but I can control what I buy. I can control how often, how much we eat out, those types of things. So I like keeping them separate because I have so much more control over them. And I have had a lot of people ask me how I track our transactions. So all of these variable expenses, I like to add them up. I'll show you what I've done for the last several years. I add them all up. So total budgeted for the month is $830. And then I'll come over here, and if there are 4 weeks in the month, I'll get $207 per week. So I should have grabbed mine. I forgot to. I have an envelope, just a regular plain white envelope, and I divide it by the week. So week 1, I would write $207. And then anytime I go to the store, or I do an Amazon purchase, or I order groceries online, I will subtract from my 207. Because I shop at stores like Costco or Walmart, where you can buy stuff from all different categories. So I have not done a good job tracking them. So I just lump it all together and divide it by the weeks. And that has worked great for me. But I do have a lot of clients that like to use budgeting apps. And so I have filmed lots of videos about budgeting apps. I have some of my favorites. Every Dollar is probably my favorite. It depends on what you're looking for, but overall, Every Dollar is one of my favorites. And so this month for May, I did not use my envelope system. I just used Every Dollar, and it was awful. I hated it, but I have learned. So I think next month will be a lot better. I just felt naked without my envelope. So I have the premium version of Every Dollar, so it automatically imports all my transactions, which is great, except for when I go to the grocery store and spend $100, it doesn't come through for a day or two. And so then the next day when I go to Costco to buy something, I haven't subtracted what I've spent yet. So I think I have learned for future, I will use Every Dollar. And when I buy anything from these variable expenses, I will enter the transaction manually and just delete the automatic ones. And then for all of my boring fixed bills, I'll just use the automatically imported transactions, because these are all automatically paid. I don't think about them. So with premium version, they'll pop up and I can categorize them. But then for these that I have more control over, I think I will just manually enter them. So I think that will help. But I do really love my envelope system. So I'm not sure, I'll give Every Dollar another month or two and see. But May had 5 weeks. So we already had less to spend in May each week because it was longer. And it's end of school. School ended for us in May. So we had teacher gifts. We had 2 birthdays in May. There was also Mother's Day. And just getting ready for summer, I like to stock up on snacks and things like that we go through a lot more of in the summer than we do during the school year. Also, our family was planning on a big vacation. We were supposed to go to Ecuador with our whole family. So there were a lot of last minute things. So I went way over. Groceries went over by $245. Most of this was I got some Sam's and Costco things to stock up. And I had food packaged for flights and stuff to take with us for our trips and just snacks for the summer. And I knew I was going to go over, and I just went over. Eating out, we ate out a lot more than normal. So we went over by $7. Miscellaneous, my husband, there is a surplus store here at the university where we live, and he loves to stop in, and he is a sucker for anything good on good deals. So he bought some stuff there. And then our kids, we have a money system we use for our kids, and our oldest 2 are now paying for all of their own clothing. So we've increased how much they make, and they were really motivated. So they actually made a lot more than I had budgeted. So we went over 33 there. I didn't spend all of my fun money because we were spending so much money in so many other categories. And then we paid for our daughters to babysit. So we went over our variable fund expenses. We went over by $313, but we're not done with all of the expensive spending yet. Our emergency fund, I mentioned it's in an online savings account. In fact, I will share in the comments, I will share a link to my favorite online savings accounts. Our emergency fund's in one. We earned $49. We didn't spend anything from emergency fund, so it's up to $15,000, almost $600. And my husband's personal money, I budgeted 50, but then actually put 150 in because he had a birthday, and I forgot to include this in income. He had a birthday, and for birthdays, my parents and my husband's mom give us money. So he got $100 there. So I forgot to include that in our income. He had the 50 that we had budgeted for his bike and his personal money, but then also the 100 for his birthday. He did spend $62. So now he's at $1,846. Life insurance, we budgeted 69. We put 69 in. We haven't spent any. So when it comes due in the fall, we'll have the full amount. Right now we're at 483. House maintenance, we budgeted 25. We put the 25 in, but then when we found out my husband was getting an extra $1,400, we decided to put 1,000 of it towards house maintenance because he wants a mini split system for our bedroom. It's the warmest room in our house. And he wants to do a mini split system so we can cool our room without having to turn down the thermostat and cool the entire house. And then in the winter, we can turn the heater on. And he did some research. It was going to be like $800 or $900 for our room. So we put 1,000 of that into our house maintenance fund. We spent a ton. So we were supposed to go to Ecuador with our family. Our passports, not all of the passports arrived in time. So we did not go to Ecuador, and we lost the tickets that we bought. We spent $4,000 on tickets. So we lost that money. The volunteer agency we're going with, they were able to transfer our dates. So we're going to go probably over spring break. We had to cancel all of our Airbnbs, a bunch of stuff we had rented. We were able to cancel. We used Priceline we had to stay in a hotel in Miami for one night, and we lost all of that money for that hotel room. But we've been here, we didn't go. So we put in a drip system for our garden. We bought a few things for our garden. We had to jack up our shed. So we've been doing house projects. So we've spent a lot of money. So we're down to 842. So it'll be another month before we have money for the mini split. Our vacation, we had budgeted 150 to put into vacation, but we actually put 655 because we put all of the interest that we earned, as well as some of that extra money from my husband's paycheck. We spent 403. That was for hotel and something else we had to pay for our trip, and then ended up not going on. So we're just under 2,500 for our vacation. House updates, we didn't budget anything, didn't put anything in. We did spend 149. We're in the process of getting our building permit, and we had to pay for a site plan. Anyway, we're at 43,330. Extra mortgage payment, we didn't budget anything, but then anything I make from my business, we put towards our mortgage. So that's 559. I could just directly apply it to our mortgage each month, but our online savings earns higher interest than what our mortgage interest rate is. So I like to leave it in our online savings account until we have enough for a full month's payment, which our monthly payment's like $1,300 a month, but only 756 of that goes towards the principal. So once we accumulate 756, then I make a payment. I just like to do that because I have a chart where I track our mortgage payoff, and I color in the house each time I make a extra payment. So I do it that way, or we could just make an extra payment each month. There's no right or wrong. We budgeted $62.16 for clothing. And I only put in 30 because it's an automatic payment, and I didn't adjust it, and I knew we were going over budget. So I just left it at 30, and we spent 65. So we're down to 0. We were buying some last minute things for our trip. Gifts, we budgeted 25. I put 30 in because I set aside some money for gifts. So like teacher gifts at the end of the school year, we didn't quite have enough in there. So I put 30 in to have enough for everything. So we spent 70. So we're at zero there too. So I now know that for clothing and gifts, I should probably add a little bit more each month into those categories because we were running out of money. Medical, we budgeted 30, put 30 in. Next month will have to pay for my crown, but we didn't have to spend anything this month. So we got 600 in there right now. Car expenses, we budgeted 75, put 75 in. We spent 164. We have old vehicles that we drive until they die. Our van is our newest and nicest, and we want it to last until we don't need a minivan anymore. So we've always done the oil changes at the dealership. We usually get a coupon, and it's not that much more than doing it ourselves with the coupon, but we went to schedule it and it was going to be like $150 just for like normal oil change. And my husband's like, there's no way we're going to spend that much. So he bought all the supplies he needs to change the oil. He had to buy some ramps. I can't remember what he had to buy. This is all the supplies he needs to do it and enough oil to do 2 oil changes for $164. So we have $684 in our car maintenance, car expense fund. Christmas, we didn't budget anything, didn't put anything in. So we still have $1,000 in there. Kids extracurricular, we budgeted 50, put 50 in. We spent $80. I registered a kid for something. I don't even remember what. And so we're down to $298. My Roth IRA, we have some retirement is taken out of our paycheck. That's from it goes into my husband's Roth IRA. There's nothing that goes into my Roth IRA. So we take 300 out and invest that 300 from my Roth IRA. So I don't track that here. So you can see we went over $92. So most of our major expenses were right here, but those are all things we had sinking funds for. So we had the money there, but we still went way over on all of our variable expenses. So we're over $92. I like to keep a buffer in our checking account of about $1,000. So we have money to cover this $92. So I can just leave it and know that we'll have less in our checking account. Or what I can do is I can take some out, and I think I'm going to do this out of I think I'll do our extra mortgage payment. No, not extra mortgage payment. I'll do our house updates. So I'm going to take $100 out of our house updates budget, transfer into our checking, and that will keep us with our buffer full at $1,000. So I had 149, so I'm going to change this to 249 that I'm taking out. And now, as soon as I log up here, I will go transfer that $100 into our checking account. And it's not going to make any changes here. If I wanted to, I could go in and add a row of $100 of income, but I don't care that much. I just want to make sure that we keep a buffer. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. In the description box down below, also in the comments, I have links to my favorite online savings accounts, as well as my favorite budgeting apps and a tutorial for every dollar. I do really love every dollar. I just didn't like waiting for my transactions to be imported. So I think I figured out. So for June, I'm going to test it out. I'll let you know how I find that. I also do, if you have a hard time with your budget, figuring it out month to month, I do financial coaching. So I can sit down with you. We can open up your budget, go through your budget item by item and figure out how to make it work for you. I do free consultations. So there's a link. Feel free to schedule one of those. Otherwise, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot them and set them in the comments right now. Or if you watch the recording of this, I try to answer every comment as quickly as I can. So feel free to leave questions there. Otherwise, good luck with summer. We'll see you soon. Thanks so much for watching. Now's the awkward end where I don't